Quinn, but people like to assume Quinn's a mean guy, but when I first met him in real life back at ESO 1 Stockholm, which was a long time ago, one of the nicest guys I've ever met. Probably the only pro that sat and just talked as if he was talking to someone on the same level as him. Very, very nice guy.
Very, very nice guy. And to be fair, I do feel like a lot of our pros are like that. You'd be surprised how kind everyone is. As the music's very nice.
I guess I was more impressed that Quinn was such a nice guy.
Okay, that's fair.
He doesn't appear that way when you see the way he speaks online, but then you realize it's just all competitive nature from him. But he's just a competitive spirit. That's all it is.
I mean, I don't know if you'd call that competitive spirit either, considering past pub experiences. You know, it's certainly not just the spirit of competition. I don't think you go as far to type what he's typed when you're just in the spirit of competition, Mikey.
He seems like an intellectual guy, right? And I think he just can't handle stupidity. I think that's what it might be. I think he just, when he sees something stupid, he just can't understand why it's so dumb. That's what it feels like.
He's just a Dota2 player. It's really not complicated, Mighty. When you play Dota2, you're just a monster as well. You know, I'm a monster as well. I know how bad I get. Let's be straightforward here. It's nothing special. We're just Dota players. We're just monsters.
1J.
We're fine people in person.
No, we're not, John. Uh-oh, 1J. He's in trouble. He'll be okay. They don't have the follow-up stuns here, of course. Ogre level 1 offers you no spells with this facet.
It's great.
It is fantastic, isn't it, John? But level 2-wise, he's going to be having a great old time. Of course, we'll start with the mid lane, where you are going to see Quinn up against Lorinov, the Lina versus Husker matchup. Of course, they could not run the DK versus Husker, because that would have been an absolute disaster for poor old Lorinov. But this matchup, it can still be pretty challenging. And as you can see, Quinn is already trying to apply as much pressure with those fire spears as possible.
I mean, this is really off the back of his blocks. Lorinov, with his creep wave up in the high ground, he can't really hit from low. He can't try to harass as much. He has to play it a little bit conservatively. This blockage from Quinn is going to help him ride through this lane. He is 200 range short of Lorinov's reach, like 400 up against 670. So again, this Lina theoretically doesn't have a bad time. You sit back, you Dragon Slave, you get some right clicks on Quinn when he tries to walk up. But because of that blockage, Lorinov's not really able to control from level 1. We'll see if he can try to repair the lane down the line, but a decent enough start for Quinn, which you would want to see when you're on a Husker. You really don't want to have to play from behind on this hero too much, as it's very tempo heavy. We'll take a gander at the other lanes, looking up at top where we are seeing the safe lane. Beastmaster once more for Watson, along with Melody on that Ogre Magi up against the Huck, and 1J on the Clockwork TV. This is a fairly nice lane. Good cogs kicking onto Watson. Not quite in time for the reflection to be back up on the Huck, but they are applying that pressure. Mind you, this level 2 timing on Melody, plus the potential axe spam coming in, it can be a little bit devastating for the Huck. Like, he has to be very smart with his metamorphosis, and they find a kill down bot.
They certainly do. First blood already being drawn here for TA2000. Panto will go down to the Phoenix, so a decent trade for Gaimin, but of course TA2000 very happy with that first blood bonus as top lane. 1J also going to drop. Watson able to pick up a kill of his own.
Yeah, and they've got really good poke damage coming out here from Gaimin up top. Just these axes, just the level 2 Ignite can just rip these heroes to shreds. Technically double melee into the Ogre Magi as well, into a Beastmaster. Fairly happy for Watson every single time Metamorphosis is down. And the Hawk didn't really get the best presence out with that first Metamorphosis usage. You are still seeing mid lane, even enough from Quinn and Lorinov. So probably the best case scenario you were looking for up against a Husker. You are still drawing even. You're finding something for Lorinov overall. He's not being pressured out. He is managing to keep this Husker in check and kind of trade nicely here on the Lina. As long as you don't allow Quinn to walk up, you're fairly happy. Although the brown boots does help the cause a bit for Quinn. A little bit of pressure up top here.
Malagich, he's more than happy to keep just chasing down 1J, though. Of course, he has hit that level 2 mark, so the level 2 Ignite is available. Mind you, it is on cooldown right now, but it won't matter too much. They'll get a Fire Blast off. 1J still running, but Watson's still in the chase. It seems like they will let it go, as of course there is a big creep wave there for Watson to continue farming. They are not going to be able to keep up with the Clockwork this time around. But again, you're at the stage, you're up against an Ogre at level 2. It's not going to be fun to try and contest as the Clockwork.
Certainly not. The last lane we haven't really talked about outside of that first blood. It has been going pretty all right for Aeskin. You don't have a natural Iron Shell combination here with Tofu on this Muerta. but you still are annoying keeping those lanes shoved out. You've got good magic damage to poke onto TA2000 if he oversteps, and can kind of punish Panto when he does overstep his bounds as well with that vacuum leveled up from Ace early on, along with the calling, of course, from Tofu. So it is a little bit more passive coming out here for Chimera. You are just going to be sitting back and farming, but that's really something DK does enjoy. So long as you don't give too much out to Ace, you're fairly happy in this lane. Although Ace with level 2 Iron Shell does start to become a threat if they do start to see some better angles to come out. Overall, laning phase start is still looking pretty decent for Gaimin, but not by a huge margin, right? Like your mid lane, Lorinov still starting to lag behind in comparison to Quinn. Your top lane is not going as smoothly as you'd want it to for the Beastmaster. I mean, you are still kind of doing well, but the Huck is also keeping up, and you are just building up almost a free lane for TA2000 because, again, there's no Iron Shell threat that you can kind of line up here on Gaimin. So there are some early angles here.
I keep looking back at mid lane. Like Lorinov, just even with the range advantage, it's just so tough for him to actually be able to farm this lane, as they are trying to jump bottom lane. Ace is going to be fine. Like, he doesn't have Surge available, but there's no real chance of them getting enough damage off to kill him quite yet. But yeah, I mean, that mid lane is just not fun. Like, Lorinov at least playing a matchup with Alina where he can kind of farm, but he's just forced to abuse Dragon Slave to get CS. Because every time he steps anywhere near the creep wave, Quinn just runs at him. And there's just nothing he can do about it.
Yeah, maybe it also goes back to just having these earlier boots up on Quinn. Again, he has 360 move speed. He can kind of weave in and out between attacks.
TA2000 is going to lose his life. A nice gank here from the side of Gaimin. Maladic joining in to ensure they got the kill, but they will lose Tofu. Panto actually able to get out of there as 1J now rotating back onto the Ogre. Does get a bit of a cogs off, but it won't matter if they don't have the damage. Still, Maladic now copping, and Icarus Dive is going to go down. Panto able to secure a double kill on the Phoenix. Not too bad of a trade here for Chimera, though you did have to pay with the DK life.
Still not too comfy with this rough start coming out for TA2000, but you are starting to find some punishment for this movement across from Gaimin. These supports are going to be scuttled down just for a tad bit. The EXP spikes aren't going to be as smooth for them to find. There is room for Tofu to at least spot out this regen rune, so he's not going to be... You're not going to get this for free. For Lorinov, no bottle top up for him is going to feel really rough, as... Again, he's just not getting as much as he wants from this lane. Heck, he has to go back for so much clarities just to ensure he has enough mana to spell spam still.
Lorinov being jumped, Maladic with the rotation, just having to provide a fire blast here, and of course Lorinov can do nothing but just stand there and tank the damage of Quinn. You do see the rotations now coming in from Chimera to try and defend that mid T1 tower, and they will have to. They have a siege creep up, so that T1's going to take a fair bit of damage if it is left alone, and it seems like Gaimin are actually just hunting instead of just focusing down at the T1 tower. So they don't protect the siege creep, rather they just want more kills, and well, sadly they won't find any yet, but Quinn is still having a gander. Lorinov will TP back into the mid lane, but there will be no life break from Quinn. He'll leave him alone for now.
Has a little bit of mercy. It would be a little bit too far to jump in with Panther already showing up, so they know there are some numbers to try to back that up. Really sneaky steal from TA2000 onto the Wizard Room. They grab double here on the side of Chimera. That's a big takeaway to slow down, again, these higher levels on Maldi, these higher levels on Tofu starting to maybe get more damage in with the Dance of the Dead, or just having access to an early Pierced Veil. Still trying to make a move onto Tofu.
He gets the calling off. The silence is going to be somewhat annoying here, but Tofu should still be going down. He can run all he wants. Eventually, they should have the chase enough with 1J catching up, and Tofu not going to be able to juke his way through the Roshan pit either. So Panto getting a third kill now on that Phoenix, and immediately the rotation up towards the top lane here from both supports. So they wish to try and maybe find Watson, but the Rocket Flare does make it pretty obvious that the rotation through the Twin Gate has happened. So naturally, Watson just going to farm the neutrals instead.
Still getting some room out as the Beastmaster top in CS, and that top 2 in Netfort sharing that spot with Quinn. Rushing the Ags, which I do appreciate in this game. Like, not going back for the Dominator, just wanting that presence with the Drums Islam does feel good. And I do feel like it ties in better on the pause 1 Beastmaster than that diversion we saw from 4-2-3 earlier. 4-4 start, less than 1k lead still lining up for Gaimin, but again, the side of Chimera have found some wins in their lane. Like TA2000 starting to farm up a storm. He's rushing the blink. They're starting to collapse up top, but can't find a clean angle in. The Hawk does have the Thunder ready as well, in case anyone does get committed on. So you do have the save available on that Terrorblade. And this movement out from Gaimin, it's a lot of resources just focused in on top. It's not like Watson was under heavy threat anyhow, but the supports aren't really achieving too much either. And meanwhile, compared that to Chimera, they've built up stacks. They've got good wards watching all across the river to protect their mid. And they are kind of set to just clear out these resources as well for Lorinov down the line. He's still going back for the travels on that Lina. Still wants to be able to show up and help out in these engagements. Big timing for Quinn up now with that full armlet up. So even more durability for him, more damage coming through every single time. Could opt for a Roche as well if you want to take a little bit of a slower Roche by himself, but probably just looking for that activity. And the support's just hanging with the one core that they can really make a play with. As with Beastmaster and Darkseer, you do need a little bit more time to get online, but they're really not finding anything. These wards from the side of Chimera will just cut off any angles you might want to find, as they do smoke.
That they do. There will be a bit of a counter smoke from Chimera. Both supports, or rather Lorinov and Panto, rotating up towards that top lane again, maybe having a hunt around for Watson, who does get scouted now by TA2000. TP is incoming from Quinn to try and help out. There's a lot of heroes coming in here from Chimera. Still, they've got even more heroes coming in now from Gaimin. They want the 5v5. TA2000 still being chased through the tree line. Quinn cannot get within range for that damn life break though, and now the hook shot. 1J, he'll block the stairway. It's a perfect location. The perfect location for a fight if you are Chimera Esports. Watson trying to run will get picked off. They were not expecting the hook shot in by the stairwell, and well, now Maladich not going to be able to get away either. You just saw the patience, John. 1J, he was just waiting for that perfect moment. The cogs block on the stairs, just perfect.
That's just unfortunate for Quinn. Nighttime vision playing a part there. He kept trying to cast the life break. He kept standing still, getting that initial animation, but just not long enough in the vision. And they just get stuck, kind of going in circles, chasing down, kind of getting almost just locked in, like way too locked in. They lost their line of sight there and falls flat. Maybe they can try for a playback. They don't have Roar for an easy pickoff, though.
Not. Bottom lane. A bit of action, but Gaimin may feel the need to back off here. There is going to be another smoke from Chimera Esports. The TA2000 and 1J both rotating into the mid lane. Seems like they want to have a crack at Quinn. I mean, they do have Laguna up. They could burst him down if they can get the initial hook shot they're looking for, but 1J actually has it on cooldown. TA2000 though, he'll jump in with his stun out. Do they have the follow-up? They will hit the Light Strike Array, but Quinn's armor toggling. He had enough time to make it happen, but can he still survive? The answer is so far yes. Quinn successfully armor toggling once again as he'll jump in onto Lorinov, takes out the Lina, and will not die. He had like 0.1 of a second to armor toggle before the Light Strike Array connected, and that made all the difference for Quinn.
Oh. Malady?
It looks like 1J probably will fall as well. Watson will join in, though the hook shot does come off cooldown, and that will be enough to allow an escape route for 1J.
So a couple of things for Chimera falling flat. 1J not having the hook shot was because they had that attempt from Gaimin down bot, where they missed out on 1J, but they at least forced out that hook, and instantly comes into play with that instant mid-rotation out. At least for Gaimin, you know, they managed to find that punishment onto Lorinov. They take the tier 1 off of it, and they start to get a lot more map space going. And they're buying a ton of space out. All right, Ace and Watson are just free-farming on that Darkseer and the Beastmaster. These are the two cores that do need some time to cook up. We're inching closer towards that Ags timing for Watson, just about 700 gold away. He's got some good stacks going for himself, or is just building up the stacks every single time with his Boar micro here. And once that Ags is up, you can be more confident with your Beastmaster rotations in. For the side of Chimera, this early spike with a blink on TA2000, I appreciate him joining these engagements. Like, they know they want some steady lockdown. They don't want to be overly reliant on only 1J with a hook shot to kind of find angles in. Speaking of 1J.
Yeah, jump is there. Quinn gonna have a nice easy one, I think. Hookshot is out. 1J will not survive. He will slowly burn to the fire spears of Quinn. Almost have the Ags up as well on Watson now on the Beastmaster, and that'll be a nice timing for Watson to feel like he can actually get involved here in these team fights and have a bit more impact. Mind you, it does still feel like Chimera Esports have pulled somewhat ahead, but net worth wise, it's still very even. It's a slight net worth lead for Gaimin, but by less than 1k. So still anyone's game. Gaimin theoretically should have an advantage throughout the mid game with their draft, but I still feel like it goes either way.
That it does. I think it's down to how these team fights are executed. I do feel like this earlier timing is stronger for Gaimin considering the Ags here on Watson. Gaimin will try to angle out for a smoke, but the side of Chimera do back off. Didn't quite spot the smoke with wards, but they've got some sense. Not fully out though. The Hawk still stuck in the middle of nowhere.
Big pick off if they can find him. Not yet. Quinn eventually will spot him out, and well, sadly for the Hawk, see, there is no real chance of survival here. He will die. This will be, I think, the one haunting factor for Chimera Esports at the moment is Quinn is going to have pretty much free reign over the map, as long as he doesn't mess up and go a bit too far. Meanwhile, Chimera Esports, they do smoke up looking to maybe find Watson. Watson, going back towards his Wisdom Rune, does manage to pick that up and does run towards the base. So it seems like he's well aware that the smoke was incoming, will avoid it completely. And instead, for Chimera Esports, they could probably look for the bottom tier 1 tower, but they're going to have to force out the creep wave, and it is going to be a very projected attempt. So if you are Gaimin, you do have plenty of time to get back there and defend if you want to. Instead, though, the chase is on for 1J. 1J actually misses a hook shot, but it won't matter. He's all right. They won't see him. Maybe Roshan time, though, for Gaimin.
They did spot in the creep wave. I'm surprised they didn't chase that wave, but probably not caring too much about the clockwork that has escaped their grasp a couple of times. Roche a safer bet. Rocket Player will spot it out. Side of Chimera is just a little bit too far to try to take that team fight. And this is that timing we tend to see with the Beastmaster Ags up. Nice quick take on Roshan. Secondary life up for Quinn. And this Husker who's already not died is going to be even harder to kill off. Already has the Glimmer Cape up as well for Quinn. Good on ya. Glimmer Cape number 1 up and running to protect. And that's just going to ruin Lornoff's game for some time here. It's not going to feel great to have to deal with that barrier on hand. 7 to 8, still a relatively even game, but that power spike for Gaimin is up. They do have the Orchid on the Hawk, and he does reveal it, just popping it on Ace, but he did manage to get the Surge out. And the Dark Sphere isn't quite set, although the auras are slowly building in. At the least.
Here we go. Panto is going to go down. Quinn finding another easy pick off on the Husker. Looking for a bit more. 1J and TA2000, they are quite close by to the Husker right now, but instead top lane, Lorenov is the one that's actually in danger. Ace does get a very nice vacuum back into the wall. Lorenov now getting body blocked as well by Ace. Has no way out. Uh-oh. The classic Warcraft 3 body blocks are here from Ace. Disgusting.
You love to see it. Yeah, it's so cheeky. Can't go out, just a slow, painful death for Lorenov as they do manage to clear the mid-tier 1. And again, this timing for Gaimin's completely online. They've got a couple of the auras already up, just the mech for the full Crimsons. They catch out Malady at least.
I mean, they've caught him out. The question is, what's it going to cost them? Because Quinn and Watson seem to be rotating over. They're going to find at least 1J by the looks of it. 1J actually forcing out a roar from Watson at least, so it's not the worst scenario for him, but it does end up being a 1-for-1 of the support. For now, the Ace is being chased by TA2000. Lorenov is behind as well for some follow-up damage. Ace, though, had a mech up and will commit it immediately as now the rotation's out from Tofu, trying to find Lorenov again, but misses the dead shot. Not quite there. As now Dahak moving back in onto the Muerta will have the life of Tofu.
You aren't really bursting these heroes down just yet for Lorenov. No Ags timing just yet. You do want that Flame Cloak up for all of that magic spell amp. Still chasing for more.
Certainly is. They are going after Ace, though Ace still surviving. Finally does go down. Egg will be focused here, so Panto does die. Is now Quinn looking for a target to life break. Is going to find TA2000, and that's a big one. TA2000 going to go down. It'll make the trade a much better affair, I think, for Gaimin Gladiators, and Well, we'll see if they can find any more out of this. It seems like at least a tier 1 bottom tower to be taken.
Yeah, they've got the room for it. No real sign of defense coming out for Chimera. Still need to take that time to get that build up. They're not at the point where they're ultra durable just yet on Chimera. Again, with the Hawk rushing that Orchid, no pipe up yet to help mitigate some of that output, especially coming in here from Watson. Even the Burning Spears, of course, not being mitigated just yet. So you do need some time to build up. At the very least, the Mage Slayer of TA2000 is good, but not good in a vacuum. So they have to work as a unit here. Side of Gaimin in the comfy spot, 2k lead. Still looking for this chase down on 1J.
Should have him. 1J.
No.
Keep buying a bit of time. Lorinov will move in. Ace to go down, so it's a pretty good trade now for Chimera Esports. We'll get away with a quickie here onto Ace. Mid lane? Huh? Is there going to be another jump? TA2000? No, he does retreat. He's alright. The Hawk?
Cool.
Gonna find himself Tofu. Tofu does still have help. Here comes the roar from Watson. Tofu gonna die. The Hawk still trying to survive. Does get stunned up though by Maladich and will lose his life.
Not really able to try to get that stunner off. Well-timed stuns coming out from Maladich. And inside of Gaimin, I mean, it's not the cleanest game from them. Chimera are finding some decent openings, using 1J as a very enticing piece of bait that has dragged Gaimin a little bit too far a couple of times. But the game still feels relatively simple for Gaimin. Right? Again, it's down to how strong these power spikes are at 20 minutes. With his Ags, with a blink up on Watson, now with his full Glimmer Cape up as well into KB. Not an easy hero to pick off. You've got Quinn with a full S and Y with that Glimmer Cape and the armlet. Still has just half a minute in the Aegis, not really able to look for much with it. But we'll have the BKB before the next fight, I'm sure, as he's just going to be keen on farming that up before forcing a big 5v5. And even Ace, his aura game is starting to really ramp in. I do believe the full Guardian Greaves are set. Going for the Pipe of Insight next. Could go back for a Crimson Guard if need be. They've got access to their Tormentor here on Gaimin. We'll just take it nice and quick. Doesn't take too long when you have the Beastmaster Ags online. And get that freebie shard up for Tofu. Same thing goes, 1J at least has the jetpack to play with, but the scaling damage that can fly in from Tofu can start to get a little bit silly. No assists or kills yet with Pierce the Veil, but once you do get a couple, you know, the spell amp can get into gear. A little bit surprised with Lorinov's pickup into the what seems to be the Yasha and Yasha Kaya first instead of the Ags. So wanting a little bit more of a safety net, wanting that faster cast animation rather than just full on the flame cloak is a little bit interesting for diversion.
I mean, it is. Maybe even just the ability to try and burst down Quinn before he can just armlet toggle over and over again. Quinn does end up finding 1J, another free kill for him up at that top lane. It's going to be a 4-man smoke from Gaimin as they do rush through the mid-river into what looks like the Radiant Triangle. They're trying to maybe find Lorinov, but Lorinov is going to see the ganking coming and does TP his way out. Rest of the squad also avoiding that Radiant Triangle for now. Dahak, though, is on the far left side of the map, so he is still somewhat viable of a pickoff if they could find him, but he's going to hide in the tree line, and that's going to make it practically impossible to actually see where the TB's gone. So this big smoke rotation, not really... Oh, wait a minute. He shows himself. Well, he had the right idea at the start, John, but he just was not anticipating that observer ward at that top lane to scout him out. And sadly, Dahak will lose his life.
Yeah, he picks the wrong spot for the ward as well, which is... This ward is very sneaky in the middle of the lane. You have to admit, Chimera did get a really good scan to bail them out, just Dahak getting a little bit too greedy. And does manage to get punished for a 12-17 4k lead for Gaimin, taking over that triangle area now for just a little bit of farm. The side of Chimera also digging into the opposite side triangle just a tad bit to get their own build up. Again, we're still waiting for that full Ags up on Lorinov. You know, TA2000 just trying to go for a Hurricane Pike to get some repositional tools available. They're standing around the triangle though, playing with confidence with these wards on hand. So any straggler that comes up can just get insta-bursted down if they're not too careful here. But Gaimin are also playing just very conservatively. They have a rough idea. They left alone, they ran through the enemy side triangle. They know they're not playing on their side of the map, so the triangle's not safe, and the opportunity isn't really there for Chimera. Just very smart teams right now in this match for Chimera and Gaimin. Very heads up on both sides. 12 to 17, 4K, getting still that steady build up. Eventually, your build up on Chimera will feel good. Your scaling is great, as 1J will be able to run away with a jetpack at the least. Not going to get stuck in for another kill attempt. Possibly. No.
Oh, no, never mind. He's in trouble. There goes 1J. He's not having the greatest game of his life. Currently 0-7 and 7 on the clockwork, having a bit of a rougher time. Still a pretty slow game between these two sides. Like, it's just, oh, as I say that, jump is there. Ace again being caught on the darks here and does get taken down. Ace just kind of farming in a very peculiar situation, and of course they do make the jump in immediately from Chimera. Tofu?
Yep.
He'll get stunned up as well. Silence is out from Dahak, and Tofu will get bursted down now.
Yeah, those are a couple of gimmies that you don't really want to be given out here on game, and a nice little gold swing back for Chimera, allowing these cores to start to, again, build into their next big items. Lorinov just about 1,000 gold away from the full Ags. He's going to be very pleased with himself once that full burst potential is unlocked. Maybe just lacking the E-Blade at that point, and you're going to be very satisfied playing the Lina in this game. For the side of Gaimin, again, because of this kind of draft, you are actually fairly reliant on your tempo here. Right, like the Beastmaster in the ultra game, late game scenario isn't necessarily the best pause one. There's some funky potential with having Bloodlust on hand, where maybe someone like the SNY can come in for Watson. He can just start to right-click heroes down with those drums flying on. There's also almost a little bit of a hard cap on Quinn as well as the game goes up, but he does still have this satanic spike that he's working himself into that can still shine here in this game. You just have to question if you have to be a little bit concerned about DK, Lina, and Terrorblade as, say, the game scales into 30-35 minutes. Things can still be pretty playable for Chimera. It's not like they're locked out of this game. Again, your lead on game isn't that high. 2K gold isn't that much to speak of at 25 minutes in. The Ags time is there for Lorinov. They're getting a little bit of that siege on the bot tier 2. Knowing that the side of Gaimin, we're probably hanging around top looking to lock in Roshan. So no defense to come in, and there might be enough time for Chimera to actually go for that Roche defense if they so wished. And they do have gate access here. Would be a little bit telegraphed, but there's no vision on Gaimin watching ramp just yet. And they do actually spot Roche first with a flare, so they should know that's going to be the objective they play for here.
Indeed they will, but the problem is, I mean, Chimera, they're going for tier 3
Wow,
tower.
okay.
I mean, why not? You pop the meta, you just force them back. You know they want Roshan. The Roshan will make it pretty obvious that it is being taken right now, so of course Chimera, they will commit all the way for the tier 3. Glyph will be forced out, and well, Gaimin, they will respond. Immediately in for the defense. Quinn's actually having a look around to see if he can find Lorinov on that Lina. So he will TP mid, but he will miss out on the kill attempt. And in fairness, Chimera, they haven't really backed out yet. They're still by that bottom lane, just farming Ancients at the moment. So they could still try to commit again. But they would be committing into 5 heroes plus an Aegis, and here we go. Gaimin, they go for a 5-man smoke. The scan has shown exactly where Chimera is standing. Rotation's over. Quinn on the front line. It's going to find 1J. He'll try to jetpack out of there, but there's no chance in hell Quinn will take him out. Everybody else, though, from Chimera Esports looking to TP away and will make it. Apart from Panto, who does get left behind. But he'll eventually get his own TP off as well, so he's fine.
I'd say that's not too bad here for Chimera. They still get space to shove in, you know, that tier 3 tower down to 800 HP. Gonna be something they can fully commitment after. So.
Roar out from Watson. He was looking for the Lina, and Lorinov kind of just gave him as a nice blink away from the stun as well. Watson finding a solo pick off onto the mid laner. You love to see that.
And doing it with style too. LSA could have provided a little bit of a turn potential there for Lorinov, considering having all of that damage up with Yags, leveraging all your stealth. They catch out Malady in exchange at the very least.
I mean, Quinn's around, but he's been silenced. He still seems like he wants to fight those. He will jump in. Hookshot is out from 1J. Quinn is fighting the world on his own right now, so he will lose the Aegis. They'll drop an egg. A nice back wall ace. He found 3 targets. Dahak is trying to run, but he will slowly just burn a Quinn's fire spears. As Watson, looking for a little bit more, will make the jump in on 1J. He does find the clockwork in the end. And with that, even Panto still trying to fight here against Tofu, but is just trying to escape. Quinn will life break him. He will die, of course. And I suppose if you're gaming, maybe you look towards that tier 2 mid tower now.
You've got the room for it at this point for Gaimin Gladiators. They just did it fall, but you're not too unhappy about that on the side of Gaimin. You managed to get some big kills your way. The very fragmented fight out from CHIMERA just not quite panning out. I think you've got to be able to work as a unit. Rather unfortunate for the Hawk as well. He couldn't get a Sunder off with a quick BKB out from Quinn. So he was trying to walk back to Sunder, save himself, tried to stall out. So still not too tanky on this TB. Again, he bypassed all of this magical barriers. No pipe, no glimmer cape. Leaves him a sitting duck for all of this magical output you do have in Gaimin. Nice simple siege onto the bot tier 2. Then we'll find it with no contest coming out from the side of CHIMERA. And CHIMERA, for their part, starting to lag behind now. 8k lead for Gaimin, so it's a much more noticeable gold lead, as you are starting to lag fairly behind on the Hawk and TA2000. T2000, for his part, just trying to get some protection up against Quinn with the Lincoln's pickup. And still a ways off from that full commitment for it. I'm wondering if Lorinoff will want something defensive for himself as well. It just feels like once you have a couple of Lincolns up, this game can kind of complicate for Gaimin, right? Like you're reliant on Roar, you're reliant on Life Break, you take those tools away, the game sort of simplifies for CHIMERA. They'll try to gun out here with a smoke. Mind you, all of the spells are back up for Gaimin. Egg is going to be back up when this fight breaks out, but you really have to find a clean angle here from the side of CHIMERA.
Well, here we go. They're going to try and find that angle, John.
Oh.
Tier 2000, they'll see Malady. Watson right behind him with the Glimmer Cape. They will throw the stun out immediately onto the Beastmaster, and he is just gone. Watson, not expecting the sentry placement to see him through the Glimmer, does go down, and well, suddenly CHIMERA Esports now looking for their own mid-tier 2 tower to be taken.
Yeah. And they've got a lot of anti-Glimmer Cape play right now. They've got the full gem up on TA2000. They had the dust, they had that ward. They understand just how pesky that quick pickup will be from Ace and from Quinn. So they show a lot of respect for the item, counteracting it in a big way. And that does lead them to find their own tier 2. Like only one outer tower left per game, and you have 2 outer towers for CHIMERA. And that was Gaimin playing with the Aegis earlier on. Full Satanic up on Quinn can help the cause. Much tankier now on that Life Stealer and on the Husker, and it's going to be a lot harder to try to burst them down at the very least. But I think CHIMERA's at the point where they're very comfy. Like even this itemization in Tier 2000, he switches. He's out of Lincoln's going for the Daedalus. He just wants damage. He's feeling confident that if they can find the right jump, if they can take care of one of the two, either Husker dies first or Beastmaster dies first, but you take care of the Roar or Life Break, you're still happy in this game. If it's only one of those spells being thrown out, you still have a very decent chance for CHIMERA to leverage your damage, to leverage your durability, and run down the side of Gaimin. For Gaimin, they have some good damage on hand, right? Like Tofu, he's got the drums, he's got the Atos and Force Staff to help reposition. Not quite at that point where you're getting a semi-core Muerta just yet. You've got the Aura play coming in here from Ace, trying to go for an Octarine for more spam out with the Iron Shell, more uptime for the Surge and Wall and Vac. But that's still a ways off in farm. And it does start to feel like you're tapering off just a tad bit with this Beastmaster Pause 1 along with a Husker. Like you have to be so cautious about being picked off, because without these two heroes together, then you just don't match what you have on CHIMERA. You don't match this DK, you don't match this Lina, you don't match this Terrorblade, as they are starting to scale up at this point in the game. As we'll try to hunt with a smoke out here on the side of Gaimin.
There we go. In CHIMERA, they're kind of grouped up as well in their own triangle. It seems like they might commit their own smoke. Diascan not going to find anything here for Gaimin, so they are kind of running the wrong way if they are looking for a big fight. Meanwhile, CHIMERA Esports, they're just looking to take a Tormentor on their own end of things, so they're well and truly safe where they are. So Gaimin will go through the Twin Gates eventually. In fact, never mind. They've decided they're going to go through the bottom lane instead. It doesn't really feel like you're ready to force high ground yet as Gaimin Gladiators, so chances are they're just forcing in the wave and getting back to farming the jungle instead. And CHIMERA, they're not interested. They're more than happy to play the avoid game right now and just keep this DK snowballing.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair to Gaimin, I think this position they're playing in, they're just trying to play off this vision they had. The ward on the high ground does expire, but they did have a ward right around that ramp area on that bot jungle, along with this ramp ward freshly planted as well, watching the jacuzzi down bot. Just no one from CHIMERA showing really good game sense coming out from them, understanding which directions that Gaimin would want to go, considering their own ward placement. They'd spot anyone kind of playing in the top jungle. So there was a across the map attempt. Panto is showing into relatively close on Gaimin, would be a nice simple kill. Not the most meaningful kill, but taking care of the Phoenix could force a wider fight where the egg's not going to be a factor.
All committed. Who they got? It's going to be the Phoenix. So Panto will drop. Not the biggest deal in the world for Gaimin. They'll just take what they get. Meanwhile, CHIMERA Esports, though, they are hunting. They've got Tofu around if they want a quickie. Watson's up top, though. That's a much tastier target. Then they are ready with everyone to just try and blow him up, and they will jump in now. And Watson can do nothing about it. He will drop once again. They do find 1J here with Quinn at the bot lane, but it won't really matter. You just lost your POS1 Beastmaster.
Yeah. It's really not a worthwhile trade. They're already starting to pressure onto the tier 3. Lornoff surely realizes that he can't, as the rest of the team already backed off, but TA2000 still on that chase.
Oh, we're actually finding Ace as well. Ace is going to be saved by his Glimmer Cape, of course. That'll be about it for Ace. He'll get out of there just fine. It really does make you wonder how they're going to change the detection game in Dota. Like, it's just so stupid to see them pop Glimmer Cape and walk away every time, because just nobody has sentries or dust left. Yep.
I'm pretty sure Glimmer's going to take a hit. The move speed increase, popping it is going to be gone as we do get a smoke. Maybe they'll try to find someone else to take out here on the side of CHIMERA. Quinn is the one presenting himself.
Yeah, Quinn also uses Glimmer Cape, John, so he's not so much invincible anymore. Quinn, BKB's up. Will be okay to escape. Maladich also running his way out, and that was a pretty big committal. They do at least get a BKB forceage, but I mean, Roshan's still not available for another 30 seconds, so you are going to have time for Gaimin to reset. And although they still won't have Quinn's BKB ready to go, they'll be much closer than they are now. So I think Gaimin, they're going to smoke up now and rush towards the pit. They do not want to give this Roshan away for free. CHIMERA Esports also don't want to give this Roshan away. But it seems like they are going to just force the bottom lane out first, which will mean Gaimin will have first dibs as they are walking right into the pit as Roshan respawns. Perfect timing for them.
1J, and he's here to scout out at the very least. Not a very safe spot.
Tofu's found him pretty early on, so it looks like 1J just going to have to accept his own death, and that's a pretty big loss. The clockwork just means so much when you're taking Roshan. Thing is, though, the Hawk's taking tier 3 mid tower now. So they're doing the same thing. Roshan is given for free, but it's going to come at somewhat of a cost. And that is going to be at the cost of your tier 3 towers HP pool.
Yeah. I mean, they're not doing enough to really... They're not fully committing to take it. So in that sense, you're really not losing anything here for the side of Gaimin. Like, these towers have been low HP for a while down bot. Still not enough for them to kind of clean up. No opportunities to clean up on CHIMERA. But it does force Gaimin all the way back to their base in response. So they miss out on, like, say, pick-off potential, taking further control of the map off the back of that instant Aegis take. Going for their own push as well. Like, they're not able to shove up top into the tier 2. It is buying time for CHIMERA in a very nice way, as they are starting to go for the Lincoln stacking now. Again, Lornoff has his. We have TA2000 going back for the Lincolns now as well. You've got the BKB being worked on by the Hawk. And once that's up again, this game is starting to simplify just a tad bit for CHIMERA. They're still 10k behind. But the heroes you have on Gaimin are starting to taper off just a tad bit. I mean, Quinn is still a tanky Husker with a lot of damage with 2 lives right now, but it doesn't feel like you're that scared on CHIMERA. You have some ways of managing all of this, and they have an angle for this tier 3 top now as well. It's only Ace kind of trying to come in to defend this one.
bit hard for Ace to get this done. We'll see. I mean, it looks like he's about to get caught out here on the darks here. T2000 breaks the Lincolns with his stun. That's not going to be quite enough. Meanwhile, Quinn, immediate rotation in, making the jump in. Ace actually does die to Hark in the end as Watson trying to take down the Phoenix Egg does manage to pick it up. TA2000 also just dropping very quickly to Gaimin Gladiators. Lorenov immediately going for a run. Should be okay to escape. Though I say that it is a smoke, so if they break the gap, they could see him, but it seems like he's fine. He's out of it. Can Gaimin approach high ground?
And they've got the angle to do so. A little bit surprised on the side of Chimera that they didn't spot the Lincolns. Like Ace was showing creep wave clearing it out. So someone must have checked his inventory and said, hey, there's a Lincolns, you gotta time your spells right. You know, you have this Hurricane Pike, you could have used that instead. If you got the instant stun into a faster kill from Lorenov, your chances are you're not in very nasty position for the TP in from Quinn to catch out your DK. Still, Gaimin finding the opening. Chimera falls a little bit flat. Do get a good scan spotting out this collapse coming in from Tofu, but the rest of Gaimin are still lurking on that bot jungle, but Chimera will just opt to play it safe. Again, the 14k lead is still there for the side of Gaimin Gladiators. They've still got the Aegis for 2 minutes. They haven't made progress on these tier 2s. They tried shoving in bot a while ago, haven't really touched the tier 3. If they find the Hawk, that could maybe make up for the slower game, but they also don't manage to really get the nighttime vision on him. He's going to be fine hanging around in that forward part and just TP home as well. These missed opportunities for Gaimin is costing them. Again, it's so silly to say when you're 15k ahead, but you are getting tempo is checked right now here. Quinn?
Gonna look for Panto. It's kind of the thing, like, it feels like they can just kill anyone and take any fight, but whether they can find objectives afterwards is the big question, and Panto still looks like he might just die to the fire damage, and he does. There's not much escaping it. Once Quinn gets a few hits onto you. Meanwhile, down towards the south, it seems like they will find Watson. I mean, that's a big deal. Watson going down again. Though a very nice back wall from Ace. 3 heroes caught in that. Lorenov, he'll be the big target. They'll take him down. 1J will try to go for a run. Meanwhile, Dahak also still hanging about, but he needs to escape. 3 down for the price of 1, so Watson, now he's sacrificing himself for the greater good, and suddenly Gaimin, they can finally look towards this tier 2 mid tower.
And it takes them a while to finally knock on these outer towers, but they've got the opening for themselves. With no buyback on Lorenov, he bought out the Octarine. You are free to run this down on the side of Gaimin. Like, that is your one main concern. There's not quite enough damage on the Hawk, and these are 2 transformation heroes you've left here for the side of Chimera, so as soon as the Dragon form fades, you don't really have presence. You have to wait for these pseudo-ultimates and ultimates to be up, and Gaimin just run it down. Again, no buyback on that Lina. You have a lot of room to play with here on the side of Gaimin.
Here we go, T4 Towers under siege. Gaimin Gladiators have had enough, and they've certainly got the space to make this game go their way now, as another wall and vac has been placed by Ace, finding Dahak and Panto. 1 tier 4 tower down, make that a 2 tier 4 towers down. It does look towards the Ancient now. Still 30 seconds without Lorenov. Jump in, Dahak, he's targeted by Quinn and he just cannot survive it. He should eventually fall, and does. Again. He does have buyback available at the very least, and the Aegis will expire. So Quinn won't have that secondary life, but he doesn't really seem to mind too much. There's your buyback from Dahak. 10 seconds for Lorenov. Jump in again. This time onto the clock, but 1J had the Glimmer Cape ready. Quinn popped his BKB on top, so he needs to find a way out of this one, but 1J, he actually jumped in. He goes for the fight. Watson, meanwhile, with the roar out of Dahak, trying to burst him down, doesn't quite get there. Ace will drop the wall once again, only finding TA2000, but that might be enough. TA still forced to just fight back against Quinn. So he will run with the Glimmer Cape now, but Quinn still moving forward, trying to get a kill. Doesn't want to go too deep, as now Lorenov has been called out. He can't afford to die in the Lina, but he's got no choice. He's down. TA2000 gonna buy back, but he's got no dragon form to play with. He'll just do the old-fashioned way, taking down Maladich. The Ancient, though, still just dropping. Gaimin focused on the main objective, as they will buy back one more time, this time on Malady, who will get back towards his team. TA2000 throwing up the stun on Quinn, still trying to buy themselves some time. to force this game back their way, but they're going to lose TA2000. Dahak will go down to boot. They've even found themselves a Phoenix, and GG is called. Gaimin will make game one go their way.
Yeah, not a simple process for the Gaimin Gladiators. Yeah. What a lovely home. We're getting into Dota2. Oh, getting into the action. Oh, some rock and roll. It's like medieval rock and roll jaunt. Yeah, bounce that camera, Scriff. Heck yeah. Get us some zooms, Scriff. In and out. Oh yeah. That's my degree. My theoretical degree.
A couple guys with motion sickness just projectile vomiting right now, thanks to Scriff. Thank you, sir.
Oh yeah, that's what I enjoy. We're making someone's day. Good or bad, we're making someone's day.
I get motion sickness too, John, I might add.
I have no idea how you can stick next to me. I don't know how you stick next to me when I move so much.
That's true. I just pretend you don't exist, I'll be frank, John. GG.
I know you don't. I know you.
They're gonna smoke. Smoke up. Now Gaimin don't exist either, John. How about that? They're rotating through the mid-river.
You know, if you're someone with an art degree, you probably wish you didn't exist.
You know, John, my kids are going to grow up one day and try to search up our cast. And they're going to be like, Dad, you were a really weird guy. Where's Uncle John, by the way? Whatever happened to that Uncle John guy? It's TA2000. Tofu doesn't skill up cogs. He's not going to end up trying. TA could have gone for Dissimulate anyway if you really needed it. No fight to break out. It is going to be a 2 for 2 trade. I can still count. 2 for 2. Happy days for both sides. Mid lane matchup, of course, Loranov on his signature. Storm Spirit, Quinn going to be on his Lena. And a Lycan Wolf going to be hanging around the mid lane as well for no apparent reason.
Yeah, just giving some vision while go scouting out, maybe trying to check for a ward. It does expire, so at least you don't give that bonus gold away. Taking a gander down bot first is we do have that safe lane Lycan for Watson. And it's not going to be a fun time having your sold in chat. That is the one thing here for Watson. You're not really going to have the best of times, but it is fine enough. This matchup as well for Watson. It's not the comfiest, right? It's a melee lane matchup into Mephetic Shroud Abaddon. You have just some dispels on hand to take care of what Malady will try to throw out. At least if your timing's right here on the Huck. So you will have to watch for when the Fire Spirits are committed. But you should be able to get some consistent poke out onto Watson. Just with a shield up, we've seen this lane be menacing for melee matchups. You tend to just out-regen anyhow. So we'll see how much.
Oh, there it is. Quinn gets you there. First blood drawn from the Lena. Very close call for Loranov, but the final right click did do just enough damage to get the job done. Very nice.
And this matchup on mid, we were talking about it, right? The Storm doesn't necessarily have a great time against Lena. You're outranged. You can't really utilize your overload up against the Lena. You can clear out the creep wave, but that's about it. And Quinn should be very comfy in this matchup. This is one of the matchups where Lena will just kind of pop off if you're not careful. And Quinn without first blood is already going to be feeling good. So taking gander elsewhere, a bit of a threat here.
Yeah, top lane, a lot of blood grenades being thrown out. Tofu, though, dropping low, actually gives his life away to TA2000. They're desperately just trying to chase the Void Spirit, but perhaps not expecting Dissimulate to be ready to go, and he does end up paying for it with his life. 1J? Really playing with fire, but he is going to be just fine. Playing on the edges of the bounty. Still sticking around. Tofu's going to try and see if he can break the gap, but is still level 1, so doesn't really have the cogs anyway. And with that, 1J is going to be just fine.
Can be perfectly fine, but you are seeing.
Sec again. Yeah, this time around, John, don't ask if what the second was for, just in case TA2000's just had surgery as well. What? He deserved that burger, John. You know, he just had surgery. He deserves the burger. Well, what's Crit gonna know about somebody else's burger? Nobody else but you does that, John. I'm telling you, nobody cares about food as much as you do. I'm telling you.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I don't need to enjoy this. It's like, you gotta enjoy food. No, you're living.
ESO1 Thailand, when there was that segment about if you're a breakfast enjoyer or not. Hold that thought, because top lane 1J's in huge trouble here, just trapped in the cogs, should go down and does. TA2000 copying a fair bit of damage, will be okay. Meanwhile, the Hawk bottom lane though, also dropping, does die to Maladich, and Maladich will trade his life away for that. Very worthwhile trades for Gaimin Gladiators. You love to see this kind of start. Meanwhile, Lorinov just really having a horrible time mid lane. Quinn is just doubling his CS at the moment. 1J will TP and give him a bottle refill. But this lane is not looking like it's going to get much easier here for poor old Lorinov.
It doesn't simplify at all. Like, there's just no play here for the Storm. Again, you're outrange, you can't leverage overload. You don't even hit the stat remnant on the Lina anyhow. You're just clearing out your creep wave. You're trying to get even. That's all you can do here on the Storm. Maybe you have to hit that jungle slightly earlier as well to play that catch-up. But a strong presence already out from the side of Gaimin. 3-2, you're finding some trades out from the side of Chimera. But the lanes are very stable for Gaimin so far. I mean, Tofu has been dropping low. He's been giving a lot of room for Ace to just soak some solo EXP. They do make that rotation up top, though.
They sure do. They found 1J once again. 1J will be dying another time. Just focusing on ensuring this top lane is not going too smoothly here for TA2000. Here's one of those things with POS1 Void Spirit. You do kind of rely on getting those early golden XP bonuses your way, but Gaimin trying to ensure he has a bit of a slower start.
And they're doing a great job of it. TA2000 is still finding farm, but they're building this strong foundation from Ace. Double bracers up. He's not going to be threatened, even with, say, some commitment out from TA2000 down the line. Some emphasis on mid as we're getting a bit of a rotation out from Panto onto Quinn.
Lorinov desperately trying. Hurricane pushback is nice on Quinn. Rotation from Tofu. Quinn barely still alive. 1J still chasing along with the Wild Ring Ripper, and they do secure, but Lorinov now may go down as Tofu does pick him off. They will still find Tofu to trade, however. Panto finding a double kill. Certainly a worthwhile fight here for the side of Chimera Esports.
Not the hero you'd want to really give that kill goal to. With how far behind Lorinov is, he does actually want to get these last hits in. Heck, he doesn't even soak up the EXP. So he's still stuck at 5.5. Quinn's going to hit 6 on the TP back in. He's going to have that threat with the Laguna set to go with full mana up and a full bottle up as well. Even though the shield rune is given out to 1J, I mean, Quinn can still murder you here if you're not careful. So
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, Quinn. Quinn is back. Lorinov is back as well, so it looks like they'll get back to the farm game. Problem is Quinn has hit his level 6. No, in fact, they're both at level 6 now. So Lorinov, not too much to be afraid of. Meanwhile, it's still a pretty even affair across multiple lanes, though Ace was being chased down a little bit, but looks like he is okay to walk his way out. Watson, in the meantime, across the map, going for that standard Midas build up for the Lycan, looking for that very early escalation in those levels in the summon walls to try and be really annoying as top lane. Once again, Ace gonna find himself in a spot of danger. Tofu's gonna be there with a cogs though, and that will block them off. And of course, TA2000 wasn't quite at the level 6 mark yet, so couldn't really jump in to secure the kill. But they will at least force Ace away from the lane. Mind you, Ace has hit level 6, so he might not mind being pushed away from the lane too much. He has got those initial levels up. Meanwhile, some action back in the mid lane by the looks of it as 1J and some supports from Gaimin are rotating over. Just in case we do see a gank attempt on Quinn's life. Ace will TP down bottom lane in the meantime, looking to secure a kill using that Doom that he just picked up, and it looks like he will Doom up the Ench. Whether this means a kill or not is a different question entirely, because it's a bit of a slow process here onto the Ench, and in fact, they do not get the Ench kill.
yeah, a little bit of a whiff of that Doom. Not gonna be too happy about committing such a big spell for it, but as a Doom, you're kind of happy just sitting back and farming anyway. Still some attention onto mid. Again, you managed to catch up just a tad bit here in Lornoff in terms of EXP at the least, as Quinn doesn't really have that EXP advantage any longer due to all of that attention being shown on mid, providing enough space here for the Storm to kind of build up back into the game at very least. Still attention down bot, Panto.
They're going to try for Panto again. This time with the Fire Spirits, they might have enough, but the Aphotic Shield actually just blocks off way too much damage and just purges off way too much. So Panto again will actually walk out with another kill in hand, by the way, now dominating on the edge. And it's starting to feel like they should probably just leave Panto alone.
Well, not an easy target to go for, as we've seen time and time again. I feel like your only solution to Panto right now is Quinn. If you can get Quinn, start to get some movement across into the side lanes, is inching towards that travels, so at least that kind of movement shouldn't be too far off now for the side of Gaimin Gladiators. But again, a very even game coming out here, despite a little bit of a slower start on the mid. The side lanes have managed to recover nicely. Watson's keeping track, or Lornoff's keeping track at the very least, with the rest of the core is evenly farmed. It's Ace and Watson falling slightly behind as that tier 1 tower does fall for Chimera. So they're finding a lot of room opening up in the map. That tempo you were talking about with this Void Spirit is going to kick in. It's going to be an Orchid Rush here.
Try another time for poor old Panto. This time they've got him. They've got him this time. Maladich will actually be the one to take the dominating spree away from Panto, though, with the Fire Spirit DPS. So a bit of a shame in that regard, I suppose, as the Hawk now got to show up, trying to chase down Maladich, but there's Tofu with the cogs. So they finally get the edge. Happy days.
I mean, it does, again, all you kind of need is just Quinn to be in the same general area, and you can kind of burst her down. No Glimmer Capes yet, Mikey, so you don't have to worry about that lack of burst. Eventually, we'll get to that point, I'm sure. As it's 6-5, less than 1k lead, still hanging for Gaimin, but Chimera, again, are doing a fine job of just coming out of this laning phase stable. They do not manage to steal away the Power Rune, no, but Quinn is in the firing line. Not for long.
And he's actually alright. It's the side of Chimera that might need to retreat. Here come those wolves, by the way, but you're not really having that impact yet with the Summer Wolves. A couple more levels to go before they get kind of ridiculous. Even then, as you kind of went through the draft, John, these supports don't really care so much about these Alpha Wolves this time around. But they're still going to be annoying. And that's fun. Top lane. The BH is dead. He's been doomed up. There's no saving him. Meanwhile, I'll jump in onto Ace. They'll try to at least trade for 1J. Egg was dropped to try and save Ace in the scenario. In fact, it's going to go all the way. And Pop here is now the Laguna coming in from Quinn. Rotation's perfect. TA, oh no, he misses the Remnant. Oh, that's a rough one. That's a 3-for-0 trade up a top lane, and it gives Gaimin Gladiators the net worth lead.
Yeah, and that's the big kills we're looking for here from the side of Gaimin. You are having a little bit of a poke and prod from Watson and the Hawk, but there's no one really to try to follow through for either side. But you are starting to slow down, or at least impact that build-up you're looking for on the side of Chimera. At least you don't lose Lornoff, but every single time your tempo is thrown off in the Void Spirit, it can fall a little bit flat. Again, we're still waiting for the Orchid, you're going back for the Mantis, and like the Ags is going to be way further down the line here for TA2000. It does feel like that's going to be the X factor as you do get build-up. Starting to shove in mid just a tad bit. Not that much mana on Quinn at the least, so you can't fully threaten here.
I mean, Quinn's still actually just right-clicking Lorinov and almost trying to bait them in, it feels like, but he's quite low on mana, so I don't really know if there's too much he can do if they do go for a fight. The Hawk's also rotating. They'll jump on Tofu. Lorinov, though, not quite finding the initiation he wanted, and oh boy! The cogs bounce is pretty painful here for Lorinov, but he does barely make it out. And you saw in that scenario as well, like, just one person being locked down with the wolves hitting away does so much damage. Maladich now being chased. He'll be okay. Nice light strike away from Quinn to ensure the Hawk could not keep the chase up. And they are still pressuring that mid-tier 1 tower.
They are. They should be able to find it. You do see the value in Alpha Wolves here at the very least. Even though that route isn't the longest time, it's not the longest route coming out here with a hamstring, but it's enough time for you to try to line up for the follow-through control. So it can be a little bit dicey for Lorinov if that's staggered just correctly here from the side of Gaimin. Still a relatively even game, 9-5, but the net worth lead from Gaimin not really as high as you'd expect, mainly on Quinn. So it's all in on this Lina so far. And the investment has looked pretty sound with the Ags coming up shortly in 2 parts. But with the track up on Chimera, they're starting to get a little bit active around the map as well. And if they can start to find some kills with this bounty hunter up, this game can kind of go out of hand very quickly if you're not careful on the side of Gaimin.
Oh, Maladic, he's actually copping it so bad from these enchanted wolves. It's kind of the thing, like Panto just takes a wolf for himself and kind of turns it back towards the supports of Gaimin Gladiators, and well, Watson's just always forced to continue summoning the wolves to try and kill it. Right now, slightly worth the way of Gaimin Gladiators. 9-5 is the scoreline. Still a very close affair between these two sides. Quinn again has taken off in terms of net worth. So as usual, Quinn's performance is very, very good.
Oh, now the
Hold on. And the Hark trying to jump Malady. Not going to be so lucky this time as Quinn will rotate over. But you can see Chimera that they're feeling a lot more confident on the map, especially with the mid tier 1 and the bottom tier 1 towers down. They are feeling like they can just do whatever they want around this mid lane, as now Watson finding Panto. Does take them a while, but they'll get the job done. Panto is gone.
The Hawk's still kind of stuck in this area.
Hookshot is there, Tofu. It's gonna body block him up. The Hark does skill up the borrowed time, but he's still gonna get caught in the cogs here, and in fact a couple are caught. Oh, TA does not want to be here any longer. He just wants to get the hell out of there. It looks like the Hark has no choice but to die in the meantime. Meanwhile, Lorinov actually jumping back in. He'll jump back out, but the mana is getting quite low for him. He'll be alright. They're still playing on the edge here, Chimera, looking to try and find a way to trade. But there's nobody left for them to really aim for here on Gaimin. So they'll have to accept that their offlane just dies for nothing.
Yeah, just again, a little bit too forward for the Hawk. Not quite showing the respect that Gaimin would be clumped up in that area. Still looking for the smoke out on Chimera. And again, they need to start getting some kills going. With this track up, they need to start to find some pickoffs. Ace, he doesn't have that Doom. Less of a threat here if they can find him.
I mean, he's still going to try and go for a run. TPs are incoming. He's got a bit of time to buy. Ace is going to drop. Malady could not help. They do eventually find a trade. It just took them a bit more time. And it seems like they'll stick around for a tier 1 top tower. So nice and easy here for Chimera Esports. There are rotations coming from Gaimin. They are trying to get there. And in fact, they've got the Ags now of Quinn. So it could be a nice time to try and get a surprise reveal on that Aghanim Scepter. But it seems like the tier 1 tower will not last as long as they need it to. Although I say that, they do glyph it. But I think Gaimin are just going to let this one go.
Not they should. You are still getting a ton of space out here on Gaimin anyhow. Like, you are getting online with Watson, Echo Saber up, going for the Shard next. Could go for the Harpoon and start to drag yours around. Does have the max level wolves now, so they've got that hamstring and the hightail. Again, you're not going to be finding easy support kills, but you can still be a massive nuisance. You do manage to find some good targets here. Enchant was just popped by Panto, but Watson's being very cautious with giving these wolves out, showing a lot of respect for the Enchantress. Still, you are hitting big strides, right? Like, the Flame Cloak's up for Quinn, Ags is fully up and running, so a lot of spell amp for him to play with. They still have complete control in their triangle. Their defensive wards here on Gaimin Gladiators does still allow them to get this safety farm going for their Lina and, you know, provide that bigger jungle for Watson to keep that build up on. For the side of Chimera, TA2000 still needs a lot more. The Orchid's a nice touch. They still haven't really found as many track kills as you'd want to see with the Bounty Hunter. And it's down to the fact that Gaimin have been sticking relatively close to each other. Outside of Watson maybe going in that deeper bot jungle, they've been really close to each other that you can't really hope for these solo track kills, which you need to snowball this kind of draft on side of Chimera, because you are very tempo-based. Like, the Storm is very sensitive to his timings, Void Spirit is as well, and it just doesn't feel like you're finding enough. Like, this 2k lead isn't massive, but it is telling a little bit of a story, considering that you want to be in a stronger position right now on Chimera, and you're, again, just not able to really find it. Maybe this time around with Quinn showing up bot, but it's only the supports playing solo push here. No real backup from their cores. And with this kind of movement across the map, this just favors Gaimin entirely. They're farming safe, they're building up, they're not under pressure to look for kills themselves. because they're not under a timer. They scale really well with Lycan Lina. They're not under any sort of pressure to kind of close this game out fast.
No, they certainly are not. They're Gaimin more than happy to take their time, where CHIMERA are certainly feeling like they might need to make some more action happen. It's a bit hard though, they are just a little bit underfarmed and might feel a bit awkward to try and find some opportunities here. You haven't really seen 1J feeling too safe either on the bounty, like he has mostly stayed on his side of the map, as they are going to smoke behind Quinn. Gaimin Gladiators looking to force another one as 1J going to move up. Not spotted yet. Meanwhile, Lorinov jumping in onto Tofu, trying to find this clockwork. Nobody really caught out yet. They have found 1J on the bounty, and Laguna is going to be enough to burst him down. The Flame Cloak plus Laguna, I mean, it's just too much damage.
And it is. Just melting right through. Again, no Glimmer Caves yet. So that is something that makes this Luna's life a lot happier. Yeah, you just need to stack 4 Glimmers, guys.
Tofu? Does at least get caught, so they are going to find a bit of a trade here with support. Nothing to write home about, but it is something.
Yeah.
I mean, Roshan is open, but you don't really have a Roshing lineup for CHIMERA this early on, so I don't know if they really want to try and force.
Yeah, it's not the fastest, but they will get moving across the gate. They do have that amp damage running for, well, it does fade away, but the Hawk can at least hammer onto Roche with the Aphotic Shield as well, so it shouldn't be too bad, but again, it's not that quick. TA 2001J, it should be a little bit better, but again, there might be enough time here for Gaimin if they had a read. Unfortunately, they don't have that forward vision. So CHIMERA is going to be comfy enough. A nice freebie for themselves. The scan does spot them out, but Gaimin are playing on the opposite side of the map. Tofu could try, but it's just instead TPing to the outpost. Maybe he tries the gate moving across. Does get the flare going. Could try to be brave for his team here.
It seems like, yeah, I think he thinks it's just too late. Roshan is indeed just down. Tofu not quite getting what he wanted.
Oh, he sees them coming in.
He does see them coming in. They're going to set up with the cogs. The Hawk really wishing he did not come through the Twin Gators. They're just going to doom him up, ensure he cannot survive with the borrowed time. And of course, the rest of CHIMERA Esports, they'll be more than happy to see their offlane dying instead of them. They'll just let him go.
Yeah. A nice kill still to find for Gaimin, though. As getting a freebie 4 kill like that after Aegis being taken is honestly a really good position for you to be in. Like, you're slowing down this build-up for the Abaddon to get really annoying with, say, the Diffusal, the Disperser down the line for slowing down and chasing down. So timing's going to be thrown off a little bit. You've got a safety net, at the very least, for Lorinov to start to play forward here on that Storm. And at the least, with Doom being committed, you are relatively free to try to snipe people with this Aegis up for a little bit longer on Lorinov. At least for the next minute 20. Not that you're in the position really to hunt here.
We have found TA2000 trying to swipe a Wisdom Rune away and does get away with it, but he needs to escape Quinn now. Laguna immediately committed, taking out over half his HP as TA. Oh, he got to the low ground. Light Strike Array will not land. He misses the Remnant. Can he still get away? He cannot.
No.
Oh, everything just went wrong for him. Everything. That's unfortunate.
No, that's a big life to give away just for the Wisdom Rune. Very happy with that on the side of Gaimin for sure. Again, the net lead is still fluctuating here and there, but it's still very steady for Gaimin Gladiators at around 4k up. So they're still in a happy spot, so they're trying to snipe here.
They sure are.
Oh, Tofu.
Tofu trying to save Ace, but Ace is still going to go down. Tofu, he will be following very closely with his buddy. As Lorinov now picking up a killing spree for himself. They even know Quinn's there. He did just Dragon Slave the creep wave. It seems like Quinn will be able to get out just fine. CHIMERA, they'll hang about and start focusing on this bottom tier 2 tower, I'm sure. By the way, live news, Jonathan. We do have our patch waiting room with T-Governor now going on. So,
wow.
If you're waiting for a patch, the waiting room is now live. Shout out to T-Governor.
Yeah, good on him. Doing whatever he's doing again. He's
running away from Lycan Wolves, Jonathan. That's what he's doing this time.
That's fair enough. They'd be doing the same thing on CHIMERA relatively soon. 14-9, 2k lead for Gaimin. Again, you are recovering nicely on CHIMERA. The lead is dropping from 4k down to 2k. You are building up into that point where things can start to happen on CHIMERA's end. Manta for TA2000 not too far off. You're going to start to get into the Lincolns now for Lorinov as well and TA2000. After that point, you have that Diffusal up on the Hawk. He can start to chase down, get a little bit of that inhibit going, and try to soften up some targets. We still haven't seen the full potential of playing with the track. I think that's really what's holding CHIMERA back. It's just down to how defensive Gaimin's playing, although Watson is a little bit exposed.
Oh, boy. No, he does get the wolf form off. He's actually going to go for a bit of a fight against Lorinov. Does have his teammates coming in to try and help out. Lorinov actually quite low on mana. Tofu, he does find himself Panto. The Hawk is there to help him out though, so Tofu could be the one in danger, but they're trying to just still burst down Panto, who does finally drop. Now it's a Hawk trying to run, but he'll cop the Doom out from Ace, which means he's got no healing through this borrowed time. TA2000 trying to jump Quinn. Has found himself a target, but he's got no damage output. He needs to get the hell out. Meanwhile, Lorinov, he'll jump back in for Tofu. Quinn's still chasing TA2000 in the meantime, but can't keep up with him. Meanwhile, Lorinov coming back in after Quinn. The Remnant will lock him down. Quinn's still alive, though, trying to back away, but finally does go down. Lorinov now on a triple kill, looking for more, but the mana pool is a bit too low. But Lorinov, he does make that team fight work out for the side of CHIMERA.
It just comes down to this Doom choice from Ace. Like, he's dooming up the Hawk. We talked about their best solution for the Storm being this Doom. I'm sure you kind of nullify that borrowed time. You nullify, say, this chase down potential with a Diffusal and a Harpoon, but it gives such free reign to Lorinov with nothing else to worry about. Like, again, you can't rely on LSA. You could maybe rely on a good hook shot, power cogs into the LSA, but that's not the easiest combo to pull off into a Storm. And Lorinov is starting to run away with this game. Only one part away now from the full Lincolns to save himself from that potential Doom now as well. And the net worth has just slipped away from the side of Gaimin Gladiators, now being a rather even affair. A 1k lead at 24 minutes in isn't really anything to speak of. You are number one right now on Watson, with Quinn not trailing too far behind, along with Lorinov. But you have sacrificed Ace just a bit. The Hawk and TA2000 are getting steady progress into those next items, into that secondary Lincoln, especially for TA2000. Aegis does expire, but the side of CHIMERA just going straight for a smoke. If they can try to bully out Ace again while Doom is down, that could be a big one here.
If they can, Ace does get caught. A nice initiation from Lorinov once again, and Ace is down. Oh, big deal now for CHIMERA. They'll go into the tier 2 mid tower. Suddenly, Gaimin Gladiators looking like they may have dropped the ball here in this game too. It's just this Storm is slowly getting a little bit out of control.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Hunting for more. Looking at that bottom lane, they might run into Tofu and Quinn. Quinn will TP away. Zip forward from Lorinov is at least going to find a clockwork. They will still get something for their time. That they haven't really found that mid tier 2. Like, the Hawk is still there, but he's really the only one there, so he needs to be a little bit cautious not to get caught.
Yeah. I mean, you're still happy enough. You get a track kill, you get a galvanized charge out for Lorinov. So you're more than okay with a kind of pickup, even though it is just clockwork. Patrick's still hanging this area just to deny the ward, and he will find it. A little bit cheeky out from him hanging in the air just a little bit longer. Net worth lead swinging back to CHIMERA again, less than 1k, not really meaningful in any means. But the Lincolns are starting to form up. Lorinov buys his out, so Doom no longer a threat on him. At the least, he's going to be very safe from that play. Second, Lincoln's still a ways off for TA2000. But again, progress is being made there. You've got the Yasha up on the Hawk. So a little bit more move speed for that chase down could go into the Manta or that full Sanjin Yasha. The Manta might be a little bit of a safer bet here for that Abba, and they will just go for the bot tier 2 pressure now as well. Again, probably not looking for the full committal, showing a lot of respect for Gaimin Gladiators. So they will snipe off 1J at least.
Yeah, he'll get blown up. It's 4-man smoke though. I mean, the 1J goes down. Gaimin Gladiators now, the 5-man smoke, excuse me, finding Panto though. Not necessarily the target they would have liked to run into, but it is something. That'll make it a 3v5 scenario now in the favor of Gaimin. Roshan is still a while away, so they won't have that opportunity to just rush for the pit. It doesn't really seem like they'll be able to go for a big fight either, because the creep waves are being forced out. So it seems like these kills will just kind of lead to addressing the lanes. The TA2000 is being watched right now by the Wolves of Watson. So they might be able to hope for that kind of kill. In fact, TA... Oh no, the dissimulate. But he jumped in. Quinn, is he in danger? Oh, he is. He is in danger indeed. Lorinov was there all along. They'll still find TA2000 though. It's still not the worst trade here for Gaimin. In fact, the Hawk was also left behind. They've got the Doom ready as well for him. They'll commit it immediately. Meanwhile, Tofu also finding 1J with the cogs out. They won't be able to lock him down. The Hawk still running away as well. Ace trying to keep the chase up, but it looks like the Hawk might actually survive. And he will. The Doom was not enough. Now Lorinov looking to jump back in. Has found Ace.
Oh, Lord.
And Ace is gone. Egg committed. Is it going to survive? I don't think so. There's just too many heroes hitting it. Maladich to drop. Lorinov looking for more. Has found Tofu. The TP away should be enough, but no, the Vortex. He had just enough mana. This is what we said it during the draft, John. Lorinov Storm, it's basically his signature at this stage.
That it is. And again, it's a really free Storm game outside of Doom. They keep having to Doom up the Hawk. They keep having to take care of this Abaddon, remove that pressure from this hero, that it just becomes so free for the Storm. Mind you, not that you can maybe even land that Doom onto Lorinov anyway when with his Lincolns up and running. It's a difficult game for the side of Gaimin to try to pin down that Storm. That's the key factor here. The fact that they're not able to stop Lorinov from dancing around. The fact that there's too high mobility heroes that are just dancing around it. You have internet issues for TA2000. Hopefully that gets fixed. It's sorted out soon. But, you know, this is what you get for coming into Southeast Asia at some point, Mike. TA2000 spent some time there.
Yeah.
Lorinov spent some time there. Now the internet curse follows them.
It does. So hopefully it can get resolved. I'm not sure how the rules work, but I would assume if they run out of time, they'd have to play 4v5. I'm not 100% sure on that though, because it does vary.
Yeah, but that tends to be the case.
Yeah.
Just to be fair. So hopefully again it gets sorted out relatively quick. Maybe run down to an internet cafe. That's something Joe Camp's been doing in the qualifier runs for Talon. He's had very long pauses, reconnects, and then the next game gets delayed slightly and he just rushes to an internet cafe.
Amazing.
Poor man. It's amazing. Like Talon has played, they've told me that they just hear all these Indonesian curse words in the background from Joe Camp's microphone because he's in the net cafe. It reminds me of, what team was it? There was one of the Mongolian squads and the boys were just playing in net cafes as well. That is always fun to watch. As we do start to get some epic music going here in our wait. You were saying something about breakfast a while ago, Mikey, when we were talking about food.
We were talking about food. So we also on Thailand, there was a whole segment on what players would enjoy breakfast. I think it was something like that. Yeah. And basically, you had the breakfast enjoyers and the people that don't eat breakfast. I am one of those people. I'm one of those Giga Chads, John. I don't believe in breakfast. It's a scam, right? Like, let's be honest. It's a scam. I noted down everyone that eats breakfast from the town, just so I know who the weaklings are, John. It's weakness to like breakfast.
Look, I only eat breakfast when we're on land because I can't afford the buffets. Mikey, it's just an opportunity. I can't afford those places.
I'm not picking on you, Jonathan. I'm simply saying that, I don't eat breakfast. That's all I'm saying.
That doesn't make you a better person.
Sure it does.
Why does it have to make you a better person? Are you a better person for not being able to afford food? Would that make you the ultimate person on the world? Like you're living in poverty, you can't get food? Like it doesn't make you a better person. It's independent of who you are as a person. Mike, don't make me wax philosophical. I'm an art student, an art dropout. I can wax philosophical for a while. I don't know why my tongue got tied for there. For Windows, we do get the unpause. E2000 at the very least fixes his internet.
You always
who
think
you are as a
so
person isn't defined.
Why do you think
it's more like it's like people can eat what they want. People live their lives. They're separate people.
I didn't say they
couldn't, but you classify them as weak. You classify them as weak.
They are. I'm judging them based on their choices.
Does your daughter eat breakfast?
Yes.
They are weak. They are babies. That's fair.
She's 22 months. I mean, I kind of expect the weakness to come out of a 22-month-year-old. Anyway, obviously, I'm joking, Jonathan. Bottom lane, Roshan's about to happen. Let's not upset any breakfast enjoyers here, John. Dahan. TA2000 going to jump in. Watson, he'll pop the Wolf 4. Nobody down yet.
Oh.
Tofu getting low, will run away. Lorenov though trying to snipe him. Eventually should have the clockwork. Quinn's courier in the meantime actually gets taken down. TA2000 getting low, will run away from Watson, but Watson now onto Panto. And they'll even commit the Doom on the end just to ensure they can get this kill. But it feels like if you're Chimera, you can just go back in now. And that's exactly what they'll do. Maladich is down. Quinn jumped back in, but Lorenov's right on top of the Lena. Quinn, can he survive? The answer is no. He's down. A triple kill for Lorenov. Watson's trying to TP, but he's got nothing.
Oh, Lord, no.
Ultra kill for Lorenov. Oh, it's getting dark now for Gaimin, Jonathan. You're getting close to that plasma build-up as well now for Lorenov, and that's when the stupid amounts of damage start to happen.
When that courier kill of Quinn, that reckless bit of courier micro not expecting that smoke out, that was his full side of ice. The man had a recipe in his backpack. Like he had the one component ready, and that could have turned a fight. That could have been the way you lock in Lorenov. And then instead they lacked the side of ice. They doomed the Ench. Like that, again, we've been talking about this Doom. It's your only tool to try to lock in Lorenov after you pop Lincolns. It has to be the Storm Spirit taken out of the picture. Instead, it's the Ench. Instead, it's the Hawk Abaddon getting the blow, and it's just not enough. It's such a free game for Lorenov, and we're seeing why, again, his Storm is just one of his best heroes. It's something that when he was in Aurora, he must have gotten really damn tired of playing this hero, but hey, if it works, it works. Right, and it is working quite nicely in this game. For Gaimin Gladiators, at the least, you'll get your Sight of Ice up in a minute 20 here for Quinn. So you will have that additional control. But you have to be just so careful of these fights because, again, even this Lycan is a win condition. Like, mainly we see Alpha Wolf Lycan on the offlane. You still have a hard carry coming out in safe. As a sole scaling hero for the side of Gaimin Gladiators, it can hit a hard cap. Like, there are some weakness in terms of damage output on Lycan that can just kind of be mitigated. He does hit hard, but you can almost leave this Lycan alone in a vacuum because he can't really burst heroes down as a threat. And once you ignore him, kill everyone else off, it's a simple process of slaying the wolf afterwards.
Well, happy days right now for Chimera Esports now, finding themselves 11k ahead.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Gaimin Gladiators gonna have to find a way to defend TA2000 though, just jumping right in. He's found Quinn on the Lena. That's a huge kill if they can find it, and it seems like they will. Quinn's down again. That is massive for Chimera. They should have their way for high ground now as Quinn has no buyback gold available. At least his courier is respawning in 5 seconds. He'll have the Sight of Ice up, but no life to use it with.
Nope. I mean, that's all stemming back to this decision to buy out the full Sight of Ice, which got denied off for such a long time anyhow. Jump in again, Lorenov, just feeling invincible now. Takes down Maladich. He's got 29 galvanized stacks. Like, he is not running out of mana anytime soon, I'll tell you what. That'll be the top lane going down. Rax is gone into the mid lane, of course. They've still got 27 seconds without Quinn available. Such a difficult game. Like, again, you need to be on point with these Dooms coming out from Ace, but he doesn't even have a blink to try to reposition. They fast TP back to catch Watson out. Oh, Watson. Oh, no. Watson getting run down just a little bit.
He does, Watson. He's going to go down as well. And so Gaimin Gladiators are in a very awkward situation now. I don't know how you even make the comeback now. Turax is down, 20k advantage the other way. Pretty rough scenario. I mean, they're not out of it yet, but they're just so far behind.
Oh.
Jump in though, they'll find Panto.
Not the biggest kill. They really have to just try to lock in Lorenov. Just try to deal with a Storm somehow. And that has to be it. Like, it has to be the Doom. It has to be a Lincoln's pop somehow into the Doom and just prevent the Storm from zipping around. And that's been your main issue. And then you can maybe start to think about holding down TA2000, who is starting to really scale up on this Void Spirit. Silver Edge coming in now for more damage output. Get their free shard up for Panto. He's going to appreciate that with a Sproink once he's back up. And Gaimin, for their part, at least they'll have this tier 2 to hold them back here from the side of CHIMERA. So they can't just fully commit for that tier 3 bot. And we'll have to work the map just a little bit more. Aegis is going to expire in 48 seconds as well. So you do have that threat disappearing on the secondary life, but it feels like these fights will never go your way unless you manage to lock in Lorna. That's really it. Like, it might not even be enough considering how much TA2000 is farmed up now, but the first step is to kill off Lornoff. You have to deal with this problem first, and again, you have the tools on Gaimin. This side of Vice that was a little bit costly for Quinn should be able to do the work, and you should be able to get the Doom off as well. You have some ways of popping the Lincolns, but you have to be smart about it on Gaimin. On the side of CHIMERA, I mean, as this game scales on, everyone becomes a threat. You have your own side of Vice up now on Lornoff, so some good control coming out for him. Full Bloodtorn up for Watson, a little bit more to play with for some damage here. But again, like the Silver Edge being up for TA2000, the full Basher up for the Hack. Like, there is so much to be scared of if you don't manage to dance around properly. Because now in theoreticals, now even if you doom up Lornoff, all of these other heroes are also such a massive threat. I'd say maybe an Ags pickup on Ace fixes this, if you can farm it up. At least with the AoE Doom, you can put a stop to all of these heroes in front of you. Double melee, a Storm that wants to zip around. Easy enough for the AoE Doom to kind of lock in.
Oh, we'll see if they can make that happen, Johnny. Again, it's a very rough time here for Gaimin in this game, too. They've got one lane of barracks left to defend here. They're holding on for now. CHIMERA is still more than happy to just kind of roam the map and keep that farm going on their end of things. Occupy that Radiant Triangle. Hope somebody makes an appearance. I mean, the nice thing is, I suppose at least you can keep the waves forced out with these alpha walls from Watson. Here they come. They're going to find Panto on the end, so Panto might just get bursted down, but in fact, no, they don't have the damage output. Panto will survive. Instead, it's Tofu to go down, and in fact, they've even jumped the Phoenix now. The Maladich will barely make it out. Watson, he's going to pop the wolf form and just escape. They couldn't even burst down Panto. That's problematic.
And it is. I mean, he has a Glimmer Cape up, along with that Aphotic Shield come in, just clutch enough to save there for Panto. I mean, this is the point where you start to worry about that output on the Lina for insta-giving supports, right? Like, Glimmer Cape alone is gonna start to weave in a few issues here and there. Roshan's still a minute away, but the side of CHIMERA just looking to end this. They're to run into that high ground. Sneaky angle coming out from TA.
See if they can take this freely. I mean, it is still a clockwork that is about to respawn in 3 seconds, so they're going to have all 5 heroes on Gaimin in just a moment. Jump in again, Laurel. He wants that Doom, and Ace is just deleted. He's got buyback, but there's a double kill already for Lorenov. No buyback on Malady. And of course, CHIMERA, they have no reason to back off. You just keep going. And that they will. T3 tower down. Still playing it somewhat safe, not trying to, risk giving a big team fight away to Gaimin. Lorenov, though, he'll jump in. Side device is out. He found Ace another time, but he doesn't have the backup. Side device onto Lorenov now, but he's all right. In fact, TA2000 is going to jump in, but does need to jump back out. They just want the barracks. In goes the Hawk now, onto Quinn. That's the big target, and Quinn is gone, but he's got buyback. He just needs to commit it. They'll jump in again, onto Ace. Quinn's forced to buy back here to try and help out, but immediately the retreat is there. To Hawk, he does get hexed up, but he will get forced after way. Meanwhile, an egg being committed, but nobody's really within range. Mega creeps up. Panto's waving them goodbye as they will walk out. Quinn still trying to just blow up the bounty, but even that's still not enough. Lorenov again jumping in. Will get duped up this time around by Ace, but can they actually kill him? He's just walking out of there. He's not dying yet. The TA2000, he jumped back in. He's going to go down. Now back onto Dahak, who's running out of that borrowed time. Looks like he is set to fall as well. So they do kind of mess up at the end, giving 2 kills plus a gem away. Lorenov, though, again going in, looking for the dieback, and he might just have it. Lorenov
Guy's a maniac.
He sure is.
Jesus. That is still, I mean, you're still not in a good position now for Gaimin, right? You died back, you bought out in a couple of years to try to help with that defense. You do punish the side of Chimera for getting a little bit greedy, for sure, but the issue with Lorinov still stands, and that was him getting doomed up. That was him getting hexed up. Your follow-through just isn't there. And this lack of damage is starting to show with Watson. Like, this Alpha Wolf life it really needs a carry that can actually scale up with it. And right now, you don't really have that. Magical Lena's tapering off because you have a couple of glimmers up. It's more than enough to sustain true here for the side of Chimera. They're going into Roshan now for Chimera with the banner, with a refresh and the cheese. It's not going to take them too long to clear out, even with these two respawns still coming in. And they'll just get to town on it. On the side of Gaimin, their backs are against the wall. Playing into Mega Creeps, they're clear. Isn't the best for these Mega Creeps either. 28k disadvantage. And Chimera, and they're looking to sail into a nice draw here. Keeping that path for Gaimin Gladiators to reach into the upper half of the groups. Still fairly complicated. Still reliant on other series, reliant on their next series now as well. If this does close out for Chimera, we'll go for the smoke. They've got the secondary life now on Lorinov, and they can't even kill him the one time.
We'll jump in again. Ace has already been caught out. TA2000 just doing so much damage along with Lorinov, and they've got him another time. That's a secondary buyback here as Quinn at least is going to respawn in 7 seconds, but it's not looking too flash hot for them. They'll lose Maladich as well. In they go for more now, looking for the Wolf, but at least Watson does get the Wolf form off and run. Quinn is back. Double stun is out, but they don't have the damage. They are still lacking so much here on Gaimin's end of things, as now the T4000 under siege and to jump back in. TA2000 finding Quinn, finding another kill immediately. Quinn is down for 80 once again. At least Lorinov will lose his Aegis, but that just gives him a reset. He's happy to go again.
Oh, Lord.
Maladich just dying to Panto. Lorinov into the fountain. He just wants to dive right in. He might die here, or maybe just not. He'll zip out of there. This game's over. GG will call it. There you go. Chimera Esports, Jonathan. I mean, Game 1 was a bit of a